Alright guys, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters qualifier here for Shenzhen. We're in EU stage number 2 and we have found our way to Harstem versus TLO, as Harstem actually had a pretty close series against the Laser in his first round. Watched a little bit at the end of it over SC2 Improve, so also a big shout out to those guys that are obviously streaming the other games going on in the tournament so far. And then TLO, he's TLO, he does what he does.
I'm sorry, I'm having a massive brain freeze again because I'm trying to figure out what map number 3 is, and I look at 6 names and I can't figure out the 7th one. Like,
Yeah.
I really think it's the lack of sleep. I think I streamed till too late yesterday, and then I had to wake up very early, and I drove for 3 hours this morning, and I've listened to very uninspiring music, so now my brain is just not functioning the way it should be. Because if we have Coda as our first map, and Cactus Valley is going to be our second map, and we don't have Inferno Pools, Vani, Expedition, and Echo, then the only map remaining is...
I'm trying to think as well. This always happens.
This is so sick.
I know.
It's a no. Damn it. Okay, I am gonna open up the letter. I cannot believe.
Quick.
No, I can't see it in my preferences.
Damn.
Anyway, we're gonna figure it out real soon. So you have Echo and Coda, who are the same. Then you got Cactus and Inferno Pool, which are the 2 big maps. Then you have Vani and Expedition. Iron Fortress. That's map number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. And I think that this is not a great map pool for Harstem. Coda is probably the best map out of the 3 for Protoss, especially with the way that Harstem likes to play, as they call it in Europe, the baguette style. Lots of sentries, lots of stalkers. Was able to defeat E-Laser in his first series of the day, 2-1. Then again, TLO was able to defeat T-Drogo 2-1. So, you know, both players beating each other's race 2-1. 2 worlds collide in our second match of the Intel Extreme Masters qualifier. Let's go ahead and jump into game. As over here on Coda, on the left top side of the map, we've got Dr. Dario himself, also known as the god of creativity. It is TLO.
He does what he can. And spawn down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our red Protoss. It is Harstem here for Invasion Esports. So
yeah, I'm very surprised about this map pool, James. Sorry to interrupt you there, but like Cactus
okay.
Valley is... I think it's not a bad map for Protoss. I think a lot of Protoss players like it, but there are certain ways. Like, they often say as soon as Protoss players establish 3 bases, that map becomes very difficult for Zerg, because like, how is Roach Hydra ever going to engage an army against sentries, stalkers, colossus, and whatnot? But at the same time, it's also such a large map, which means that it's like very possible to counterattack. It can be very good for upgraded circling styles. It could even be a Mutalisk map. I'm very curious to see Cactus Valley.
yeah, Cactus Valley would be cool. Cactus Valley would be cool. Obviously, it's interesting that, you know, TLO was able to beat Petit Drogo in the first round. He's also another kind of heater of the baguette style that does come along. So
that is true. I actually watched his tutorial on YouTube.
Yeah?
It's very good. It starts off with like, hello everyone. It's really funny because I don't think there is anybody in the world who has watched Petit Drogo PvZ tutorial more than I did, because I bookmarked it, and I almost never bookmark anything. I know that's a very standard thing to do, but for some reason, like, I've always just visited websites, and for some reason that video got stuck on my, you know, bookmark taskbar, and it's like the only thing that's pretty much there. So I've opened it accidentally by misclicking like probably over 300 times. So you're welcome, T Drogo, for all the page views that I have given your little YouTube channel.
Wow, you're so kind. So
I
kind.
know, I'm a generous guy. I'm a giver. Hashtag giving back to the community.
Yeah, seems so. And this drone really wants to become another hatchery for a triple hatch opener here. Second drone even came down, so TLO, greedy guy, gonna take that very, very quickly.
Yeah, and he scouts that there is a gateway on the other side of the map for Harstem. So Harstem will still get his Nexus down pretty damn quick as well. Like, this is a 3-minute and 30-second Nexus. That is quick, but of course, if you're TLO right now, you're looking at this and you're kind of loving life, because you know there is nothing that he can do right now about your triple hatch opening. You have been as greedy as possible, while on the other side of the map, Harstem has played this quite safe, didn't go for a Nexus first or something. Of course, this does allow him to have slightly quicker access to cybernetic score, and maybe he will be able to put on a little bit of pressure, but I'm curious to see how he's going to play this one out. TLO, I'm expecting something creative. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be creative.
There's a lot of C words to describe TLO, one of which, other than creative,
wow,
is also...
the first word that jumped to my mind would be very rude and inappropriate, James.
Aside from profanity, would also be consistent. He's looked great throughout the entirety of WCS. He's been one of the only members of the whole of WCS that's been in every single one, pretty much. So, your mind, Rotty.
Yeah, I know. I just realized that this must just make me a bad person. But whenever you say there are many ways to call him a C word, like, I can't be the only one. I'm sure there is someone out there on Twitch who thought the exact same thing as I did.
No, I love me some Dario. He's great. He's a great guy. And definitely wouldn't describe him in that way, that's for sure. But whoa, where did he take some? He took a gas.
Yeah, I think that drone was going to die anyway. So I think he just wants to keep it alive for as long as possible and see if he can pick up on something that may be going down here. At least he forces the stalker to stay over here. So you know that's something. This is the kind of stuff that's just annoying. You're looking at this as a Protoss, and you just have like the kind of face that you have when you're browsing Reddit at 4 AM. You know, it's just like, why are you doing this? Like, click, click. Like you just hate everything about it. Like you know, this doesn't really hurt you in any way. It's just annoying and stupid.
Yeah, yeah. And they'll keep canceling it over and over. The stalker's like, I've had enough.
Yeah, but you just at a point, you just give up. You're like, you know what? Take it.
That's funny. Oh well. Oh well. It's just 2 gateways are in the wall, so he's kind of just walling himself off in a very, very normal way. Pylon going down here for Harstem. It has to be a fake at this point. There's not much you can really do with it, surely. But
well, he scouted at least for a while. Like this is something that as a Protoss is always a little bit of a guessing game, right? You scout early on, you see there are no extractors. But then you don't know. The moment that your probe leaves, maybe he drops an extractor immediately. So Harstem can know for sure when Zergling speed is ready. But I think he has a very good suspicion that he's being suspicious that it's very late, and that's right, because it is damn late. So this stalker pressure is actually going to be pretty damn good for him right now. Not only is he going to force out a lot of units, these stalkers should never die against slow Zerglings.
Yeah, and when I think about the positioning of that pylon, it's actually really annoying for the Zerg to eventually get around to actually kill off. So you can just warp onto the low ground towards his third base and put on great pressure.
Take a look at the minimap, James.
Oh. Damn it! I thought it wouldn't happen in this game.
He's so creative. I have no idea what the hatchery is going to do over there, but I know it's creative, I know it's awesome, and I know he has something planned with it.
Seems so. He's going to try and deny this base from getting killed off as well, even lava injecting
good
this location.
Got a roach there, very good focus fire. He didn't really split up his damage, could have just attacked move and then he will like shoot all over a couple Zerglings. But instead he got a roach. And my favorite type of roach, James, is a dead roach.
I know, man. You're Protoss. It makes sense. Well, wait a minute. He actually came over here, saw the hatchery. There was a probe going down there as well, and now he's had to abandon that plan for a little bit, and he's going up towards the top. So I guess at least it forced the Nexus to be closer to him, so he could put some hurt on pretty soon. I
think like right now, Harstem's probably getting as well. He's like, oh man, this guy just doesn't stop with his creative builds. Like I'm sure TLO is going to cancel this hatchery. Oh, actually a couple of Zerglings on the south side. They're engaging these sentries. Ooh. But Harstem is paying. He actually lets it finish.
Reinforcement.
He's gonna like spine crawler rush the natural or something. Like what is going on over here?
Maybe we could see some spines.
Oh my god, he did not see that Nexus go down. Can you believe that?
What?
He ran by with Zerglings and roaches and he did not see it.
That's ridiculous.
Right now, Harstem is like looking up to the skies and he's like, thank you.
Yep, that would be very, very close. These roaches and lings, yes, will be able to kill this pylon off eventually. Roach speed is now on the way, but why is this hatchery finished?
I think he just did not expect that Harstem would just expand towards the middle of the map or towards the middle of the map. And now that hatchery is, or that Nexus is there, the cannon has finished up, and now TLO is going to have a much harder time doing something about it. So he's probably hating life.
Yeah, I really think he is going to spread creep forwards.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and then burrow, tunnel and claws, burrowed roaches, madness. Just like he's going to max out on roaches. It's just one of these games, old school Stefano style, with a little bit of creativity brought to you by the one and only Dr. Dario himself.
Yeah. And this queen had to run away for a little bit there, making sure she wasn't die off. The roaches, as well as the lings, just poisoning themselves to threaten this location at least. He really wants that creep tumor down. There's a drone here as well, so it's going to be up to spines.
I've complimented Harstem before on like how good he has become with sentries and stalkers, and this is one of those moments where he's going to have to show us once more.
Yeah.
Not too long ago, we saw a player have a phenomenal hold against this type of playstyle on this map with a couple of Immortals, and he just did really good. Harstem, a couple of sentries are a little bit exposed here. Will loses 2 sentries and doesn't really kill a whole lot in the process.
Yeah, for just like a few links, not really much at all. Extra cannons are going down. Harstem realizes he's going to be under fire, under attack pretty soon here, as the Roaches do press up against it, get themselves a pile and have to back off up towards the top. Some of the reinforcements being cut off.
These sentries are once again going to be a little bit exposed. Every sentry that TLO can kill is a great one. Actually doesn't get a single one there, focuses the Stalker instead. Harstem needs more cannons in this third base, and then I think he's going to be more than fine. He's actually like already kind of evening up the supplies, which is not supposed to happen if you're TLO right now. You're supposed to be like 30, 40, 50 supply up and looking for openings. It's not supposed to be this close.
And just Lings and Roaches on the way at the moment. Across, +2 and Blink are having time bought for them here for Harstem, which will make this a whole lot easier once it comes along, but slowly trickling on forwards. Roaches coming in from the backside now, actually engaging just before Blink's done. So these Stalkers, despite having Blink now, actually aren't even blinking back to safety. And even if they did, they would leave all these sentries exposed. Roaches coming in from every single angle, and, well, the Photon Overcharger cannon are doing okay, but eventually all these sentries are soon destined to die.
Yeah, I think they were doing more than okay, but I think Harstem waited a little bit too long to bring in the reinforcements, but I still think it's going to be good enough for him, because the Immortal count, well, right now it's at 1, soon it's going to be at 2, and what are you really going to do with Roaches against 2 or 3 Immortals? That Photon Overcharge has been pushing out a ridiculous amount of damage output, or DPS. These sentries are very exposed once more, a couple of them will die, but I just feel the supply right now is too close with an Immortal out already. I think Harstem is going to be fine here, especially when +2 finishes up.
Do you think that he can continue on in terms of against just the Lings Roaches? Do the Lings Roaches gain any traction here at all against this now?
I mean, if TLO is only able to squeeze out 30 Roaches and then gets a couple of good dominant claws moves, then maybe, but the natural is pretty much unbreakable at this point with 3 cannons there. And you know, the third base has 2 cannons. Okay, 1 Immortal there is very exposed. He should have gone for that Immortal immediately. I don't understand why he didn't jump on it. Oh, he traps it with the Lings. Very well done.
Very nice. Oh, the creep is helping these Roaches out so much with maneuverability here. You don't normally see this kind of thing in these kinds of positions. So Protoss is scrambling.
So creative.
It works.
I mean, like, if you tune in right now, you're like, yep, it's TLO game. I see a random hatchery on the other side of the map. I see creep tumors between Protoss. They're natural. And then, you know, on their way towards the third base. So why not? Has to be TLO.
Yeah, healing up and getting all those Roaches rallied on around this left-hand side, making sure that they don't rally past this force on the right.
So the best thing, I guess, for TLO that has happened in the last few minutes is not only getting that 1 Immortal, but he has killed a lot of sentries. So that means that when he's facing an army right now, even when the sentry count is high, most of those sentries have 2 force field stops. While, you know, if you play against sentries that have gathered up 200 energy, they will just literally never run out of force field energy. Right now, I can still see Harstem find himself in a position where he almost runs out. Has to be very careful there. There's only 1 Immortal. Like, TLO right now is looking for an opportunity to snipe off an Immortal. If he does that, yes, he can win, because Roaches on creep are phenomenal against gateway units. But if he faces an army that has 4 Immortals, right now there's 3. If he faces an army of 4 Immortals, there's just no way. So I think he's going to have to commit. He's going to have to try to do something. Recall being used. That's kind of a cute play.
Yeah, I was going to say, as much as we've complimented, you know, TLO with this kind of interesting strategy, Harstem has done a really good job of separating his forces across these 2 bases and made sure that he's not really taking too much damage at all. There actually is only the 1 observer in with all this, but that's all he needs against just pure Roach.
Yeah, the Immortal count. I mean, Harstem did a really good job there. Harstem knew how important it was to get his Immortals together. That army together will never die against just Roaches. But he wants to make sure. I don't know.
Oh my god. All right, okay, well, the Roaches are going to continue on at the front here. He's actually got the Hydralisk den down behind all of this, so he will have a bit more power behind this. Now notices all these queens on his creep spread, and he's got to be a little bit worrisome.
I mean, TLO is really cool with this kind of stuff, and this is definitely scary as a Protoss, because if you take a look at Harstem's vision right now, Harstem doesn't really see a whole lot, and with not a whole lot, I mean, he sees almost nothing. That's why he's sending a Phoenix out, because he probably has the idea, like, hey, I must be doing pretty good. Like, there's only so much that a Zerg can afford, right? But when games get this wild and this crazy, it can be really hard to keep track on truly how much money your opponent has, because this is not a standard game anymore. He's getting a Dark Shrine right now. He's also getting a Templar Archives, which I think is very smart. I think RoboBay would have been fine as well, but he's going for Templar Archives, and I guess that works.
Yeah, and he cleaned up a lot of the creep on this right-hand side between his bases as well. So that opens up the lines a little bit. If you could get that respread with the Queen, but that would be nice. But these 3 Zealots did okay. He's actually going to go straight for the counter.
Okay, this is very awkward right now. Okay, Hydras are able to do quite a bit of damage here. A couple of those Roaches, I think he should use Tunneling Claws right now and tunnel forward.
Yeah,
but he's not doing it.
He needed to negate some of this force field on the right-hand side, that's for sure. 'Cause so many of these roaches haven't been attacking at all for ages. Yep. Blinks forwards here from Harstem to try and bring some more of this army down. And why on earth not? He is vastly up in army supply.
Yeah, that was a really good fight in the end. I felt as soon as the first force fields were going down, TLO should have realized there is no really no escape. There's no getting out of there. So what he should have done is just burrow all those roaches, move forward, and try to unburrow them right on top of the sentries. Because if the Protoss army would be running away and dropping new force fields, that at least will allow your Hydras to shoot for a little longer and push out some damage. And right now the Hydras were just, you know, they were just getting destroyed by pretty much everything because they were getting force field off. And those roaches, like you mentioned, they were not doing anything in the back of that fight.
Really impressive crisis management by Harstem. It's very rare you get thrown into these kinds of situations, only for then him to be on lockdown, total lockdown. How many workers did he lose during this game? Not many at all. He didn't lose much of his walls. He didn't really lose any of his bases. No, really well played.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of these things, like if you look at it, of course, with Fugopar turned off, he's just like, oh, okay, he's making the correct plays and he's relying on force fields. Another good forward blink there, as again, he's getting a couple of roaches. But there were so many moments where the Protoss could have been falling apart. But Harstem has truly stepped up his game when it comes to, as the first Dark Templars make their way into the battlefield, and TLO will just tap out, being down 30-40 supply with the units that he had against that maxed out Protoss army. There was just no way. But Harstem has really elevated his play when it comes to relying on Stalkers and Sentries. And of course, you know, later on with Blink. But first, just the basic Stalkers and Sentries. He's so good with them against Zerg. And I think he's playing this matchup and he's approaching the matchup PvZ with a lot of confidence right now. Because I just feel that he is never really that worried. You know, there is no phase in the game which truly phases him. He's just like, all right, early game, oh, you have a good economic opening, I'll put a little bit of pressure, we'll see how that goes. Okay, you're doing something crazy, I'll get my defensive cannons, Blink is on the way, and as soon as I have Blink +2, I've got a lot of sentries. Like, his PvZ is absolutely, you know, based around this one tiny unit, the sentry.
Yeah.
But it's been doing wonders for him.
Yeah, he looked really good in that game, that's for sure. Whilst we're waiting to get into the next games, I just noticed in the chat that Firecake said, sorry, I forfeit, I can't play. So there may be updates in the bracket pretty soon, and parts of it might go a little bit faster than before. Firecake was actually knocked down into the lower bracket, losing to Happy before, and then has given up that win for Showtime to advance on in the lower bracket. So
it seems like there's been a walkover win for DMC over Lilbo as well, as Lilbo has a little dash behind his name.
That's
true.
No
score. So we'll see. As soon as we know some more details about that, we'll let you guys know. But for now, we can just focus on the winner bracket, where we are watching a very entertaining series. Also worth mentioning, of course, the winner of this series will move on against the winner of Bunny versus Uthermal. That is a great TVT series, and I'm pretty damn sure it's going on base trade right now, correct? Because I think they love their TVTs.
I think they may have picked it up, yeah. I'm not sure 100% what they're doing, but they do like it. And also, again, not only do we have, you know, base trade casting some of these games, but also a few other streams casting almost the entirety of the qualifier. So you can see a lot of the games here.
What a world we live in, James. 2015, an IEM qualifier. I remember the days when it was Mr. Bidder and me grinding away in this building. Actually, I've done a couple of these qualifiers by myself.
Yeah?
Production as well. I was the switcher, I was the observer, I was the commentator, I was the host.
I know that feeling when I took this studio off your guys' hands and you guys moved over to America, doing all the production on that screen whilst casting from here and all the audio.
You know, it's really funny to think back of like esports. Like obviously a qualifier like this is okay for us to be a little bit relaxed, but back in the days it was like amateur hour just 1.0. It's because I was living with the Muslim, and the Muslim, we didn't have internet yet in our apartment in Cologne. So the Muslim would come over to the studio here, but he wouldn't come at the same time as I would have to start my work day because he was a little bit lazy. So then sometimes I was casting, and then suddenly someone is just knocking on the building, and then like in the middle of the game I would be like, hey guys, hold on, I gotta open the door for the Muslim. So I just like abandoned this game, and like one time like there's a 7 pool going on, I was like, I gotta open the door for the Muslim, so I just like walk out by myself, and people on Twitch were like, Roddy, you're so dumb, like how can you do that? And then I was like, well, I have to open the door, and now that I think back about it, it's like, man, that's pretty dumb. Like, why would I ever just go AFK in the middle of a broadcast? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, James.
We have. All right, let's get into game number 2 here for Cactus Valley between Harstem and TLO. As we do have spawning up to the top right-hand corner, it is our blue Zerg. Currently 1 game down, it is TLO. And then up to the top left-hand corner, we have our purple Protoss this time, but whatever. It is Mr. Harstem, one game up, playing for Invasion Esports.
You know, of course, when it comes to being creative, there are often people, you know, that say like, "Ah, well, it's great and all, but if you can't be the best person straight up, then maybe you should just practice that more instead of doing all these silly builds." But I love seeing it, man, and I truly think the game needs people like TLO. Like TLO is absolutely capable of playing normal styles as well, so I'm not putting him in a little box here of that he can only win weird and unorthodox games, and as soon as anything becomes standard, he's not good enough, because that is not true. TLO is just a very cool approach to the game, and he's always thinking outside of the box, and he's giving us very entertaining games. Like, if I was a Zerg player, I would be watching that last game, I'd be like, "Lol, I'm gonna try that actually," you know, because that stuff is just fun. And whenever your race allows you to do fun stuff, you should try to mess around with it a little bit. Because what more fun will you ever have than beating a Protoss? And let's not forget the key moment in that game. When Harstem, his third Nexus, was not up yet. When that cannon was totally naked, when it wasn't walled in yet. If those Zerglings and Roaches start chipping away at that pylon and then that cannon, maybe he even gets a cancel on that Nexus. And I think if that happens, we're looking at a completely different game. So, you know, the moral of the story is, please, TLO, never change. I love watching your games.
Yeah, definitely. I got to agree with that. And the interesting thing now is that, whoa,
What?
Was that offset? Was that slightly off point? That was one hex too low?
Okay.
Huh. But the thing is that TLO changed it up completely now. He's gone spawning pool first over this, and on a map like this, it's a little bit trickier.
There are a couple of fancy cannon rushes out there, James. Especially like the one over here in the middle. You can just go for a full wall off, build a bunch of pylons, you know, go full Haas, channel your inner cheesy, dirty Protoss, and just like cannon away. So I think that is one of the reasons why TLO is doing this.
Well, for now, Harstem, unfortunately for him, has scouted down the wrong direction. TLO, thanks to the fact that he has Overlords, will be able to spot him pretty early.
There is only one direction, James.
Oh, yeah, there is for Harstem especially.
I have to admit, I like a couple of their songs as well.
Yeah?
I recently started to grow on 5 Seconds of Summer as well.
You're mentioning these things, but I don't know them.
Okay, it's like not a boy band. It's basically just a complete One Direction ripoff.
Oh, really?
But they have like this one song called Amnesia, and it's kind of cool.
Wow, okay.
Half of Twitchers will absolutely hate me right now. That's okay, guys. I love my boy bands. I still listen to the Backstreet Boys and Blue.
Oh, well, they're acceptable.
And NSYNC.
Those are all acceptable. I can completely agree with that.
Yeah, but I mean, if those were acceptable, why is One Direction not acceptable? Then we're just hating on it being popular right now. That's
because isn't it Disney corporate trash?
Oh, now we're hating on Disney.
I mean, not so much like the whole of Disney, but
Disney has given us great things like Miley Cyrus.
Oh God! All right, okay. Bye, trolls. Okay, so back to this game. Actually, I'll admit, all the Disney films were really good. I like Aladdin. Aladdin's best.
A Lion King is a legend.
Yeah, Lion King was really good. We're talking about these things as if they've just happened. It's like, yeah, they're not like they're 20-some years old. Oh God, that makes me feel
I mean,
old.
like, if anybody out there has not seen The Lion King yet, like, just stop watching this right now and start watching The Lion King.
You have priorities to set.
Like, StarCraft is great, but there's only one Lion King.
Yeah,
so.
pretty much. Pretty much.
All right. So far, everything has been kind of centered over here, though. Like, TLO has just gone up to 3 bases. Oh, good movement there on the Zalo.
Nice.
Gets a cheeky kill on the drone. Chronobus has been spent quite a bit on Warp Gate. I think Harstem is going to drop 2 more gateways. I don't think this is going to be 4 gateways. Well, man, what a weird wall up by Harstem. I guess that is a full wall. Oh.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
That's for sure. It
looks like people can go through, or it looks like it looks like Zerglings can run through on the right side, but I believe that's not possible. The way that this map works, it's like very weird how that works. But because like there's still some, you know, this cliff is basically not a straight up cliff, but it kind of has like a little ramp at the bottom. That's why units can't walk there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a jut out. Well, Ling's going to try and get on top of this Stalker. There are about to be 2 other Queens popping at some point, so they could technically come for the defense as well, but obviously he wants to be keeping on top of his lava injects, and he's going to transfer one of the Queens from that 3rd base and now decide to back off.
Yeah, I mean, there is a pylon there, so he could warp in technically a couple of Stalkers once more and just start poking the way that he did on Coda. I think this is always good. Against a Zerg that doesn't have Zergling speed yet, this is always good. The biggest problem is that on Coda, he had basically a free entrance towards the turret base where there was no creep. And over here, there is quite a bit of active creep already, and that makes it harder, because slow Zerglings can actually get a surround off on Stalkers as long as you're on creep. Off creep, there is like no way, Jose, unless your name is Rotterdam and you keep losing stocks off creep against slow Zerglings. But a player like Harstem, he won't do that. And this is already great, man. He's getting a queen, he's getting an active creep tumor. Like, I would be so pleased with this if I was Harstem.
It's rare you see Stalkers get a full surround on a queen, but that was that. That was they just.
Harstem has been a Warcraft 3 player in his days.
Yeah, true. So just going to juke around, and now even this queen and drones have to evacuate this location. And he has to know. I mean, he sees that there's an inject on this hatchery. So where's the queen gone? We'll come back now, though, to help on out with the Lings also trying to run this down.
He's going to get one No, wow, I cannot believe it, man. Those Stalkers, they just took an oil bath right before they got warped in.
And no speed on the way either. So it's all on the roaches, really.
Oh, he fights the drones. It's like finding a mystery jackpot.
Everything's going really well for Harstem.
Yep. Yeah, this is very nice. Of course, he does need to do quite some damage with this because he's opening up with 3 gateways and he's 2 base against 3 base, so he needed to do some damage. But I think he has done more damage than he would have initially signed up for, like a little bit less. Would have been great. And he's just going to follow this up with a big 7 or 8 gate on 2 bases, and I can't really blame him for it because that pylon, as long as that pylon is still alive, that would have been phenomenal. Now it is going to die, and there is Burrow on the way, and I think Burrow is absolutely phenomenal in this scenario because you're playing against the Protoss that is not going to have any detection whatsoever unless he would somehow warp in an offensive pylon with an offensive cannon and then just stay near that cannon, but that is a little bit unlikely, isn't it, James?
Yeah, we'll definitely be able to kind of hit a little bit earlier than this Burrow actually getting up and running, so...
I think TLO knows that this is coming, though. There's still a clause on the way as well, and that is, of course, great. Like, this is a different scenario than this in the last game. This time, there is no clock running for TLO. He doesn't really have to make the issue happen. No, he has to survive.
Shoes almost on the other foot.
Yep.
With Harstem now putting the pressure on here. Pylon goes down in almost exactly the same place.
I like
Force fields, really well placed force fields on the left-hand side. Divide up some of these roaches and will kill off the ones at the front.
I really still like the idea of going for it. I think he should fight right now before he warps in 8 extra units. This is your moment, TLO. Oh, man, I can't believe he just still had enough energy to get those additional force fields off. Great force fields there. I really thought that he didn't have enough to force field away all of those roaches. And now he's getting a couple of force fields behind that arm. He goes for a forward blink as well, and he gets a lot of free roaches, but badoosh. Ding. Burrow. Love it.
That's going to be annoying. Robo Bay, or Robo Facility even, I should say, is on the way now, but every single time he engages, he's going to be, well, they're just going to burrow, he's going to slow it down.
Yep. There's no tunneling clause just yet, so force fields will still be very useful.
Oh, dear.
Oh, man, shoes on the off. He uses time up, has to be very careful. I think he probably wants to use recall at a certain point as well. I'm taking a look at this mothership core. Has enough energy for recall, but he doesn't want to recall just yet. I don't think this is a fight that Harstem should truly commit to.
And the Queen's actually focused down the mothership core. We'll be able to kill that off.
Okay,
he apparently had more firepower there with his Stalkers than I gave him credit for. He has +1 weapons on them, which does help out quite a lot.
And it looked like those sentries were all super exposed as well, but in the end they survived. He's really playing with fire though. Like, you can't really continue this dance, right? Well, actually with Blink Stalkers, I guess you can for a little bit, but he's going to lose his sentries.
Well played. Well played so far. I mean, his army supply is down at the moment, so it's going to be up to critical mass Blink Stalkers as soon as this Observer gets over there, but... It's not the easiest.
He still has absolutely no ambitions of transitioning either.
Yeah.
He had a full wall off. I hear Stalker shooting. Actually, they're shooting at rocks. I was like, so he's like, Harstem has locked himself in. I think Harstem forgot about the 4 roaches he left in front of his natural. Those 4 Stalkers. I wish there were roaches. Just kidding, guys. I'm not claiming that roaches are better than Stalkers. Okay, no, he brought them over. That's going to help him a little bit. They're actually going to be greeted by a couple of roaches in the middle of the map. That's a very awkward little... you know, random meetup. There is an observer in this army right now. I don't think that TLO is going to expect this. Maybe he saw it there. Maybe he caught a glimpse of it.
Still, though, the Stalkers are amassing. 71 army supplies worth of pretty much pure Stalker. 32 at the moment. They can make miracles happen with just Blink alone.
I mean, 32 Stalkers against 30 roaches. Most people will prefer the 32 Stalkers.
Yeah.
I prefer the roaches. Just kidding.
Well, these ones are going to march on. Oh, and giving up this high ground can be bad for the Zerg.
I mean, let's not forget that Harstem has +1 as well. That's going to help out quite a bit. He gets a couple of Overlord. That stuff is just phenomenal. There are a few Spine Crawlers. He still has to be a little bit careful. Don't put yourself in a position where you can't blink anymore. If roaches come from all angles, this could get a much harder fight for Harstem. Now these Stalkers have blink on cooldown, but I still think there's too much DPS in this Protoss army.
Yeah, they're going to be able to deal with these roaches pretty darn quickly. If this one observer, he is the lord of this arena.
Yep.
He is making sure that there is no spanner in the works here for TLO to try and claw his way back against this kind of Blink Stalker's numbers, which is controlling very well.
Yeah, great play again by Harstem. I really felt there was one fight earlier where I think TLO, he burrowed and he like kind of disengaged. But I think on that moment, if he would just trade unit for unit, I think that would be very good. Because the moment that like Protoss loses the majority of its ball, it's much harder to restart something than for Zerg. But the moment the numbers stay high, I think that's in favor of the Protoss. Well, I think TLO could have done a better job in maybe resetting the Stark account in that one fight. And now I just feel that Harstem is in absolute control of this game. Queens are going to try to buffer a little bit. I mean, it's still difficult to push onto creep. Yeah. Hey, he sniped the Observer. No, he didn't. Never mind. I'm lying.
Close. He's looking for it, though. Definitely. Like, with the Overseer here, why else do you really need that? That's what he wants. He needs that. If he gets the Observer, then it makes this a whole lot easier for him.
Yep, because then he can push out creep again. And, of course, he can burrow for days. If I was Harstem, I'd probably get a second Observer across the map right now. Oh, Naked Queens. One gets... Oh, great focus fight there as well on the Queen that had a lot of energy, making it so hard for TLO to get anything going for himself. TLO, why don't you snipe that pylon right now? That is literally the only pylon out on the map.
I think he's just going for the counterattack and hoping for it. I mean, this is quite the ballsy move, to be honest with you. Against this many Stalkers, it's 43 Stalkers on the field. He needs some kind of buffer here against this. He's trying to throw down extra Spine Crawlers. Transfuses go down onto some of them. All he has to do is blink back. He's actually going to blink aggressively into this, now realizing that all of the roaches are on the other side trying to bust down his wall.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of an awkward base trade right now, in which I feel that Harstem should be fine. I mean, when you're up in Blink Stalkers against just basic roaches, well, roaches do have Tolerant Claws and stuff, but they don't really have any upgrades, and you're already in the natural of the Zerg, things are definitely going your way as the Protoss player.
Yeah, he's going to kill off this pylon here with the... actually... Okay, no, the probes are evacuating, and he has money to actually make extra buildings. So, if you'd have got those pylons, and if the roaches had done or not in the middle, in the mainland without those probes escaping, then yeah, he could have tried to go for elimination, but that's not going to be the case just here.
I mean, it's still going to be a little bit awkward. I mean, that's for sure, because we're still looking at 33 roaches. TLO's losing a couple of roaches in the middle. Oh, no, he's not. In the middle of the map, where there was one Stalker, but he's still burrowing them. Pop! Nope. He trades a roach for a burrow, or a roach for a Stalker there. It's not too bad.
Whereabouts are you? Oh, over here.
Yeah, there was a small little skirmish going on over there. Nothing crazy. Hey, that was a Roy soundboard.
He's actually... Is he not going to get this
TLO,
forge?
you need... Okay, he gets... Harstem gets a Nexus on the left bottom side of the map. Isn't that TLO's last building? TLO, you need the building. Okay, he dropped something.
A hat tree up to the top left. He needs to kill the forge, though. +2 weapons is about to finish. He hasn't prioritized the forge that's been upgrading all this time.
He can go for the pylon, maybe. No, I think you're right. Like, I do think that could help, but I think right now he's just more focused on the actual base trade and like worrying about an upgrade. But I do agree with you. Like, canceling +2 if you can. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. He has like 10 seconds left to do that. It's gonna finish.
Oh dear me.
I mean, there's absolutely no point. No. Oh my God.
Well, +2's done.
Yep.
Rip. Yeah, these Stalkers are going to have a really, really easy time now.
But of course, because, yeah, you're right, all those roaches are going to get picked off. That Assimilator will live. And of course, you know, there's always that Nexus in the left bottom side of the map that is going to live as well. So all these roaches, they're trapped. There's just pretty much no way out. He's going to try to unburrow, but Harstem is not going to fall for that. He has an Observer as well. He's going to kill all the roaches. Well done.
I didn't notice this Spine Crawler down at the bottom left-hand corner. Oh well. Blinks forwards, kills off the remainder of these roaches. GG. Harstem takes the series 2-0 and advances onto the semi-final in the upper bracket. And gotta say, really good stuff from him in both of those games.
Yeah, he looks so solid in PvZ. It just looks like nothing really surprises him. Nothing really shocks him. It seems like he always has an answer. Even though the second game, of course, that is just a Blink all-in, but it starts way before the actual Blink all-in. It starts with the first Stalkers poking around, you know, getting a Queen, denying Creep Tumors, because Creep Tumors is what shut these kind of bases or two-base all-ins down. With normally, there's a reason why these are not that popular anymore. That's because you always need an Observer, and if you don't have an Observer, well, everyone got so good at spreading creep that your all-in starts miles away from the actual base that you want to attack. So that's just not Yeah, you know, the way that you want to do it normally as a Protoss. But Harstem sets himself up very well for that 2-base all-in. I do still think there was this one key fight where TLO was burrowing and unburrowing. And that's where I really feel like he should have just tried to sing it out till the end. And even if he would have lost every single unit there, if he would have dropped the Starker count, let's say from like 11 to back to all the way 3 or 4, then I think that is much better. Because once again, as Protoss, like, you really benefit so much from getting an army and making that army grow. Well, the last thing you ever want as a Protoss is be reset to 0, because then it's going to be a lot easier for the Zerg to build a similar army, and then roaches are cheaper than Stalkers. And I felt there was maybe one moment where he could have fought a little longer. But I would actually have to watch the replay because it was really hard to say. Just a very well played series, I think, a very entertaining one. And I think TLO will look back at this and he's like, man, Coda, game number 1. If those units would have spotted that Nexus, it could have been maybe a different outcome of game 1. And then you're looking at a different series, of course.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm wondering where he actually falls now down into the lower bracket, because there is the potential that he goes into where Mana is at the moment, TLO. So we'll find that in just a bit. I think we're going to go to a short break, guys, actually here at the stream. And then when we are back, we're going to have more Intel Extreme Masters qualifier action for you, moving on forwards to Shen Shen.